This video is brought to you by Game Maker, the free, fast, and easy-to-use 2D game engine that helps power modern classics like Undertale, Hotline Miami, and Hyper Light Drifter. Starter templates, official asset bundles, and a wealth of tutorials are available to help bring your ideas to life. And you can export and share your game for free on all non-console platforms. But you don't have to take my word for it, I'm just some jerk. We have an actual bona fide Game Maker on hand.
Oh shit, that's me. Yes, I've been using Game Maker for a long time. It's probably the most powerful and easiest to use engine for making 2D games out there, suitable for both amateurs and hardcore coders, and with all the Steam and console integration stuff for when you're ready to start monetizing your hobbies. I used it to make my recently released game, Starstruck Vagabond, which has already delighted thousands of sci-fi cozy game aficionados, thanks to Game Maker being so bloody great.
Head on over to the Game Maker link in the description to begin your game development journey today. Hey everyone, welcome back to Firelink Podcast, episode number 47 for Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. My name is Marty Sleva, joined by KC Wosu and producer Eric. To be honest, we got a light crew tonight. We're coming upon the end of the year. People are getting their end of the year works done. I believe Nick is at a zoo.
Yeah, the important end of the year work to be done in the zoos. Those animals have to be taken care of.
We are so cold. Why are you allowing us to be here? But no, this will be a nice little fireside chat before the festivities of tomorrow night's Game Awards shenanigans, which we'll be getting just a little over 24 hours from now, 6:30 p.m. Central tomorrow evening. Casey and I will be live alongside Nick watching the Game Awards. Should be a very good time. But before that, we still got a show to do today.
Yes.
Including, we watched the first half of Secret Level, which is the big animated anthology series of all the different video game properties. First half dropped on Amazon this week. Second half drops next week. So, yeah, we watched them all. And we're going to give you, I guess, probably a little non-spoiler look at if we think it's worth it, which ones we think you should check out, whether being a good game directly correlates with being a good thing. Because I'm going to be honest, one of my favorite ones, didn't give a shit about that game.
Yeah, I think that does track.
Yeah, so we'll be chatting about that, as well as a couple little news bits, including Fortnite just keeps going, which is just shocking. Do you think they're ever going to stop?
I mean, they don't intend to. It's going to be up to we, the people, to put a stop to it. But
I don't think the people are ever going to allow it to stop.
Yeah, the kids have been
they
corrupted.
Signed like $1 billion thing with Disney too, and we haven't really seen the fruits of that labor. Of maybe we see that tomorrow because Keeley. I've been rewatching the first 6 Game Awards as one does, and almost every year a big Fortnite thing. Donald Mustard gets on there. Funniest name in video games, Donald Mustard. Donald is just a funny first name, like the duck, and Mustard is funny because it's a condiment. It'd be like Carrie Ketchup.
Yeah.
Would you trust a CEO named Carrie Ketchup?
Kinda.
Yeah.
In the Heinz company, essentially just that. Like their last name is just synonymous with ketchup. So
that is true. It's true. Yeah, that's what we need. We need. You know what we need? We need the French to come in, take over Epic, and his name will be Donald Grey Poupon. Remember that? Those rich French dudes?
Get rid of the gray. Just Donald Poupon.
Remember those videos were supposed to come out the other year of Donald Poupon? It never happened. We were all like, this is it. We finally got him. So we'll be talking more about Fortnite. A little news drop about a Pokemon project that was unexpected but neat. And then maybe some last minute Game Awards predictions, which honestly might just could be Persona because it feels like it. We got it in the air. People are getting hyped about Game Awards. You see
Are they? I've not been hearing people keep bringing up
all the little rumor rats are scurrying about saying that there's all sorts of people are going to be surprised.
Usually it's like Jeff Keighley being like, all right, put your expectations in check. But now it's like Jason Schreier being like, oh man, shit's about to pop off.
Has Jeff said anything like that this year? Has he just been super sad? Okay, so that does sort of signal that maybe there's some big stuff.
Almost every time in the past, he's been like, all right, it's the pandemic, so cool your jets. But he hasn't done that.
Just a regular show with nothing cool, but please watch it. Thank you.
But please, we need this 10th anniversary. I think I kind of goofed about Persona, but I do think we're going to see Persona 6 because all that other shit's out now. The Persona 3 remake is out.
By other
DLC
shit, do you mean
out.
like Metaphor Refantasia?
GameSpot's Game of the Year, which good on GameSpot. I'm going to be honest. You're better than the People's Choice vote for Game of the Year at the Game Awards, which was like Black Myth Wukong, the Elder Scrolls DLC, and then Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, and ZZZ, which... Casey, wake up. ZZZ got nominated.
Listen,
people spoke.
Listen, I posted some stuff in our general chat the other day.
Yeah.
Those Chinese gacha games are kind of onto something. Like, they are putting out some really exciting shit, and it just so happens to be a gacha. We might be in trouble. Like everyone else who might be in trouble.
Listen, you're the only one with like your finger on the pulse. You're like, hey, we got to play this car racing game and we got to play gacha games. Meanwhile, the rest of us olds are like, they made an Indiana Jones game. Everyone's favorite movie from
like it opens on 1932. Like, like you see that at the bottom of your screen, you go, what the fuck am I doing?
See, if only we could have randomly gotten cool outfits. It's also funny with that viewer award thing because they've done that in the past. In the past, like Genshin has been like, if we win, we'll give you free things. And so you just have like 1 billion people being like, fucking vote. Every game should do that.
Get new stuff.
Every game, like Final Fantasy VII should be like, if you vote, Aerith won't die. We'll bring her back.
I mean, it is sort of a marker of that game's popularity. Like, if you can galvanize the people who care about that game to go do this thing, then they do care about that game because they went to do the thing that the game told them.
I can't
Those
get
people
mad.
are playing it.
I can't get mad at Genshin for doing that. Like, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, put some fucking Joe Biden. You got a couple months left. Put your foot in. You don't have a couple months left. You got like 5 weeks left. Time's ticking. You got to change the Game Awards, Joe. What do you think? Do you think we'll see anything cool
at the Game Awards? Yes. Yeah.
Anything you're hopeful for?
Anything I'm hopeful for is more Perfect Dark. We did get a really meaty look at it. Like, it wasn't like full length thingy, but like it's definitely way more than we've seen of that game since it was first announced 1 million years ago.
Yeah.
So I would love to see just more progress.
That game was originally revealed at the Game Awards like 3 years ago, I think.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
so it does have history there. Like it owes it to the Game Awards to basically continue to have good showings.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like I don't know. Like the main thing on my brain is just when Nintendo is going to release this nuclear bomb that is the Switch 2. And like I don't think it'll be there, but like could it be like they don't want us to be able to predict what they can do, and like this is something you could easily predict Nintendo doesn't get involved in, so maybe they'll just do it because F us.
I'm gonna say it again for the sake of us. Metroid Prime 2
and
that'd
be nice.
Might as well just put both of them out there. Yeah, we promise
we'll get some sort of presence. Yeah,
we'll get back to streaming if that happens. Yeah,
we're on a strike because of Nintendo.
We're refusing to find those last artifacts until Nintendo allows us to play Metroid 2. Before we move on, a bunch of super chats right off the top. Thank you all so much. Alex, welcome to 6 months in sponsor-free videos. Appreciate you, Alex. Nosk with $8 can't watch live, but do Casey and or Marty have thoughts on GNX? I want my rat beef update. Yeah, we didn't actually talk about the new album last week.
Yeah, we did mention that it was a thing that happened, but yeah, we didn't like dive into it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to steal these words, even though I feel the same. But like, I listened to Needle Drop, Anthony Fantano. He essentially summed it up as Kendrick bottling up all the energy of the rat beef stuff that he was going through with Drake into an actual project, because all the singles and the diss tracks don't make an album. Like, those are just kind of one-off releases. But there are things in, like, there are records that sound like direct kind of callbacks to some of his diss tracks, and he's talking about different things, but he does hold on to some of the same ideas in like the lyrics and stuff. And so it's a really good way to be like, all right, well, if you liked what I was doing all year with this guy on the corner, here's an album for you to actually put into contention for like actual awards and stuff. Because no one's gonna give me rap album of the year for a collection of diss tracks.
Yeah. No, that is a good point. That's almost like he's like, it's a smart album in a way where it's like, well, I already kind of like laid down the groundwork, so let me just do a little bit more and then compile it all and really get my feelings here. Yeah, I've only listened through the entire thing once, and I popped onto a couple different songs here and there, and like first listen, it didn't like stand out as much as like Good Kid or Pimp a Butterfly or Damn did, but it is what I feel. Honestly, longer lasting records tend to have this feature where it's like, the first couple of times it may not hit you super strong, but over repeated listens over time, like it grows on you, and then it's something that you continue to revisit for like years and years afterwards. And that is how I felt about this. It's not my favorite Kendrick album, but I do think it's better than the last one he released, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I kind of really liked half of the Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. But I can listen to GNX all the way through. It's a good time. Just really good songs on it. Really good like production. Like it's a good time. It's a real strong record from him. And it had the mustard scream, which entered pop culture as like this.
That kind of broke the internet a little bit.
You know, when like official brands are like PlayStation, like, can we have Kratos screaming it? It'll be fine. Dower Dodger with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, Dower Dodger. Silk Song Shadow Drop at the Game Awards. That's the sound of every reviews editor at every website crying if that happens. But it's the holiday. Oh no.
God. Who knows? I doubt it, but who knows? Yeah. It's 10 years. 10 years of Game Awards.
They shadow dropped yesterday. They shadow dropped that game Naiad, which I'd been looking forward to. It was we saw it at like Day of the Dev indie kind of showcases the last couple of years, and it's like a top-down colorful game where you play like a water nymph, and you're kind of like just swimming along. Yeah. Like, I'm sure you were on a stream where this was shown. This is a game that I was like, part of me was like, did this game get canceled? And then during like the wholesome showcase yesterday, they're like, and it's out now. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? Like, why did you just release it then?
Why does no one know this?
Yeah, there's like certain things that are big enough to shadow drop. That is not one of those things that is big enough to shadow drop. But I'm excited to play that. Bookworm with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Surprise! People getting more than 30 seconds to talk at the Game Awards. That would be a surprise.
You mean people other than Jeff? Is that what you mean? Because Jeff will get
Jeff, Kojima, and every single
Joseph Fares. He'll get plenty of time. Gonzo if he decides to show up.
No, they Statler and Waldorf are there. They've said the two old dudes in the balcony.
Oh dang!
And they have said Joseph Fares is showing off their next game. Mm-hmm. They've also confirmed Borderlands 4.
I saw that too.
Yeah, and Kojima's there, so I imagine there will be something. Or maybe they'll just guess finally. Finally, honestly, there is sexual tension between them every year at the Game Awards. If you go back to like 2015, the year Konami didn't let Kojima go because of the Metal Gear
stuff. Jeff was so pissed. You could see it it was behind his eyes was just rage.
And the next year starts with him going like, and I am righting a historic wrong. Like someone was wronged last year and I'm going to fix it. And it was great. James Morgan with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Enjoyed Arnold parodying himself and the Predator reference. As did I. We will get to that in that may be an example of the secret level short based on a game I did not give a shit about and ended up kind of enjoying. So there you go. And Far Too Many Frogs in Rogue Orbit with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Need Chris Judge to go on a 10-minute rant. I wonder if Jeff is going to bring him back or not.
I mean, like, there's no God of War adjacent thing, right? But he has made, like how E3 used to have like E3 moments, like he has done that for VGA. He's one of those moments. So it might be worth it to be like, to reference him in some form.
And especially for this 10th anniversary, he's kind of bringing back a lot of people who have like, he's like bringing, well, granted, like Troy Baker is Indiana Jones in a new game, but it feels like he's almost like digging up. He's like, here's Joseph Fares and Kojima, like people who have been quote unquote main characters. Bring the kid.
You know who he's got to bring back?
The kid?
No, not the kid. Jeff hates that kid. Jeff hates that kid. He has to bring back why did I just forget his real name? Jeff Winger from Community.
Oh my God, no! No!
What is his name?
Want to see that. Joel
McHale. Yes.
Joel McHale, yeah.
Yeah. He's got to look, he wants to right a wrong. He's got to bring Joel McHale back and have that man answer for his crimes.
Joel McHale did come back at a later one. He came back at like 2016 or 17, and he just presented an award. And it was like his bit was actually pretty good. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't, because famously what you're referring to is the Spike TV Awards that he hosted. Yeah. And he just shat
on the entire show the entire time. And Tyler, the Creator, and his crew, Odd Future, were there, and they also just did not help. Like they were like the man on the street crew, and they were just insane anytime they cut to them. It was so insane.
It is funny, like any level any criticism you want. That show has gotten better every year. Like they learn from their mistakes, and everything is tighter. And like he doesn't allow like there's a reason he's the host, and he has someone he trusts, like Sydney Goodman, who's like the kind of the co-host or like the pre-show host and stuff, because he's like, I can't trust another celebrity. Like I can bring them on for a little bit, but we can't give them like the wheel for this kind of thing. That was a dark moment in gaming history. And then Too Many Frogs with a follow-up. No, just get Chris Judge to be Chris Judge. Yeah, we probably won't see. Maybe we see whatever. I don't know. I'm curious if like Sony will have a presence there. Like, are we going to see Wolverine or what Sony Ben's been working on, or like what Cory Barlog's game has been? Because he didn't direct the second God of War. He directed the first God of War. So in theory, he's been working on something for 5-6 years. Who knows? There's no way to know. But yeah, we'll have plenty more to say about that tomorrow. Like I said, almost 1 day directly from now, we'll be kicking things off.
Yeah. Do we know how long that show is?
It's usually like 3 hours.
All right.
Yeah. Well, you just leave if you're bored. That's fine.
I mean, I'm not saying I have like other stuff to do, but like,
yeah.
Come on, Jeff, wrap it up.
You want to hold up the wrap it up side to Jeff? A couple of news stories we talked about at the top. Fortnite, not a ton to say about this stuff, but Fortnite announced not one but 2 new modes or just things. I don't know what Fortnite is anymore. I don't know what you call these things, but the 2 new things they've announced, the first being a 5v5 first-person mode called Ballistics, which is very much like terrorists versus operatives. Like someone's trying to set a bomb, the other team's trying to defuse it.
It's Siege. We can say that, right? It's Rainbow Six Siege.
I think we can say that, yeah. And then they also announced, as a part of the big Lego Fortnite thing, Lego Fortnite Brick Life, which is pretty much Lego Fortnite. I don't want to see Lego GTA, because Lego GTA already exists in that Lego City Undercover game, which is much more like GTA. But this is like a big open world city life simulator thingy in the Lego world. They don't
like a cozy game type vibe, or
can Legos be cozy,
or like a Second Life? Lego can be cozy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like if nothing's trying to kill you and all you're doing is collecting bricks to like build stuff.
Okay,
that's cozy, right?
It does, but the banana slipped on a banana peel, and that immediately becomes dangerous and uncozy.
Oh, that guy's playing hacky sack, also dangerous.
That's not cozy. That is not a cozy sport. This is just more of like, it's so easy if you don't play Fortnite or sort of have kids in your life who play Fortnite. Like, it's easy to forget how big this thing still is, and it is still just kind of the biggest thing out there.
The thing that I think is happening here is like Fortnite has and is this just been this huge monolith of a thing that it has kind of actively detracted from people experiencing other games. Like there are kids who don't play anything other than Fortnite and haven't since they were like young. Like Fortnite is just their game. This is sort of like the massive amount of dev power that Epic has, allowing them to do not Fortnite. But it's like, you have to do Fortnite because Fortnite is king. But if you really don't want to do Fortnite, maybe try to do something in Fortnite. And this is what they're coming up with, like just literally other games, but in Fortnite.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of how like that show Andor, the Star Wars show, the guy was like, I just wanted to make a political thriller, and the only way I could do it was by putting it in the Star Wars universe. So I
Yeah.
guess I'll make it in Star Wars. Which means, which shows good things can come out of this. Yeah, I'm still really curious to see what the fruits of the Disney deal are going to be, which again, like, I would not be surprised if we see if the reason they announced these before the Game Awards is because these were the small things in the lead up to some crazy announcement tomorrow.
So we still got big, probably main Fortnite announcements.
I think so. I think it was like, let's get the 5v5 first person shooter thing and the Lego thing out of the way so that when we show Star Wars Episode 10 is in Fortnite or whatever.
Like what? The other thing I'm curious about is like, if no one plays this stuff, like if they don't get numbers of people who actually interact with these other modes, like, are they still fine? Like if they're like, does this bring in new people potentially, or does it fracture the audience they already have, or just give them more stuff to do so that they don't leave? Like,
yeah. No, that's a really good point. I don't know. I don't know if they could just consider these things to be like loss leaders and be like, well, Fortnite makes enough money that it's fine to take risks on things. And if 1 out of every 10 hits, that's fine. They can pay for the rest of them. Yeah,
I mean, it already makes $1 bajillion. They should just turn into a gotcha.
You've got to stop playing those games.
Just add gotcha mechanics.
How are we going to fix
complete the circle?
What gotchas? What do we want for the next Uncharted game? I have an idea. What if Nathan Drake gets into a little gotcha? They should have put. How come there's no gotcha games in Secret Level? Well, at least in these first group, there's no Secret Level. There's no gotcha games. There might be in the second. There's like a.
I forget what's in the
MOBA.
Second.
There's like a MOBA I've never heard of in the second batch of. Like not the ones we've watched, the ones that are coming out next week that I've never heard of.
Set.
Yeah. Pac-Man was the original gotcha. He gets a ghost.
Because he eat ghosts, says gotcha.
George Lucas says Indiana Jones and the Great Gotcha.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
All the big gotcha games are getting like their own standalone anime series anyway, so we'll just wait for those.
Yeah, when I have to imagine Genshin's.
Yeah, I think Genshin has one in the works.
Yeah. I imagine that's gonna be a dude. It seems like all their games, right? All the Miyo games could work as anime series.
Yeah, they definitely could. But Genshin is the only one that I'm aware of was in production. They also have like the Honkai stuff, which is sort of big on mobile, but I don't think that ever crossed over heavy.
Is ZZZ bigger than Honkai?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It feels like ZZZ just came out after Honkai, but it also feels like I don't hear anyone talk about Honkai. Everyone's all about them Zenless.
I'm sorry, when you say Honkai, you're talking about Star Rail. I don't think ZZZ is better than Honkai Star Rail, but there's
more than one Honkais.
Yeah, the Honkai Impact series, like they're the mobile stuff that they had just before they crossed over into like AAA. No,
I didn't know. I thought I just used the word Honkai as a singular thing. I didn't realize I was misusing Honkai as many things.
Yeah, Honkai Impact was like their first big mobile thing, which was a gacha game, but was kind of like light Bayonetta.
Okay.
But it was, it was for mobile. It didn't have like a ton of depth.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't know that. Every time I say Honkai, it sounds like I'm saying either hot guy or Hawkeye. I'm like, what about Hawkeye? I don't like it.
That Marvel Rivals game.
Yeah.
What if he made a gacha?
What if is it already kind of gacha? I don't know.
No, they give you everything free in that. That is anti-gacha.
We got them. It's a got him game.
Well, you just got him. I got him.
Yeah. And then the other news bit, which there's not a whole lot to talk about here, but I woke up this morning and saw that a new Pokemon animated project is in the works from Studio Aardman, who is best known for the Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit movies. They're known for stop animation, claymation stuff, and they are working on a Pokemon project that no details other than it's coming in 2027, and we don't know if this is a full-length feature film, if this is an animated series, if this is just a couple of shorts. The one note with that is both Pokemon and Aardman currently have deals with Netflix. Like Pokemon had that Pokemon Concierge show earlier.
Yeah, I was going to ask who did that, and like
it wasn't Aardman. That was really
maybe that's
good.
what spurned this.
Yeah, and I think maybe they knew like, oh, like Pokemon looks really cool like this. Like obviously it looks
Yeah.
good as an anime and everything, but like it looks like really fucking cool in this sort of tactile version of it. But yeah, that'd be cool. It's also going to be no, I guess 27 is going to be past the anniversary. No, 27. Like maybe this is something for like Pokemon's going to be celebrating its big 30th anniversary soon.
Yeah, your big prediction is that it's going open world, right?
No, it's that. Yeah, it's that. This is gonna be it. They're finally gonna get their shit together. Maybe this is gonna be them doing like we're gonna celebrate by redoing the story of Pokemon Red and Blue in Aardman form, not as a game, but as like a little animated thing. As a little treat.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'd watch some Diglets. I like those guys.
What if it's like hella gritty? Like it's claymation, but it's like gore and
the secret level version. Oh no. But Jobo Slow says Pokemon gotcha. Pokemon something has been gotcha, right? This card game is kind of a
gotta catch them all.
I'm gonna be honest. Gotcha, catch them all. Let me be honest. Maybe I don't know what a gotcha game is. Is the Pokemon card game a gotcha game?
No, a gotcha is like basically random prizes, and the prizes are functional characters.
Okay, well, the Pokemon card game is like a kind of like that. Like you gotta unlock packs of cards. If I'm opening a pack of cards, that feels like gotcha.
Yeah, it is similar energy.
They got me. They fucking got me. I was about to say we'll have more on that Pokemon show soon, but no, we won't. 2027, we might be dead.
Geez, yeah, why'd they announce that so early?
I don't know what's going on. It takes a long time for those claymation boys to make their fucking models. They got to like make an action catch him and then move him a centimeter and then take another picture of him.
Yeah, a single scene takes about a month.
It is nuts to me. Like I love what like I rewatched The Night Before Christmas and stuff every year, but like that stuff, like you have to be like built different, like truly built different in order to be like, yeah, I'll spend the day just like slowly moving something. Like there was I don't know if you ever watched Parks and Rec, but like one of the characters played by Adam Scott like loses his job and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna really get into making my short film, and he's like spends like a month on a stop animation short film, and he finally shows it off, and it's like 4 seconds long, and he's like, I spent 30 days on that, and it's just like a guy getting out of his bed and stretching. Yeah, you gotta be real sicko to do that.
God, that's great show.
But yeah, with that we can move on to our main topic, which Zoopmere also with a $5 dono, perfect timing, said episodes 1, 2, and 4 are hard carried by their IP. New World episode stands on its own, but the IP is too weak to carry anything. Dud of a series. Hachi Machi. What do you
very warm take?
Yeah, what's I guess your overarching view. What did you think of these first 8 episodes of Secret Level?
As far as I'm concerned, the first half of Secret Level stuff is good.
Mm-hmm.
There are particular episodes that I think are like great. But yeah, overall, if they average out, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I do disagree with Zoob in the idea that some of them are hard carried by their IP. Like, for example, I don't care about like, look, I'm on a Dungeons and Dragons show. Like, I have fun playing the game. I don't care about Dungeons and Dragons as a concept.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was a little surprised that Dungeons and Dragons was involved in it. I didn't remember that as part of the stuff that they announced. It was like, wait, just Dungeons and Dragons is in this video game theme thing? Yeah, it's not even like
Baldur's Gate or something.
Right.
You know, it's just like, here's the thing. Yeah.
But that being said, like, it was phenomenally animated.
Oh yeah.
And I was drawn in immediately by just the quality of everything I was looking at. The story was pretty basic, but like it wasn't bad. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, the characters had like little baby arcs here and there, and like it was a good short. Like for that one in particular, I was like, oh, that's good. Like I like that.
Just about the D&D one?
Yeah, for the D&D one, yeah.
Yeah. So the first one is I like it because it just drops you in the middle of there's like a character who's caged up by like these evil like dark wizards or by like fucking necromancers or something, and he gets rescued by like a adventuring party, and so you just kind of learn about this adventuring party as this character does, but this character is also cursed, and so it's just kind of like a snippet of the adventure party rescuing him and then trying to get the curse lifted,
right?
But I thought it did a really great job of like showing a really fucking cool action scene of a bunch of different character classes like doing their cool shit, like a
and that's the
dwarven
thing, like
boxer and like a little gnome mage and everything.
you could tell it was a ton of fan service for D&D players. Like
Mhm.
they'd be able to recognize exactly what this character was and what they were doing and like what this place is and stuff. None of that means anything to me because I am not that in like deep into the game. But as like a noob ass observer, like I still thought it was all cool.
Yeah, I agree. And just by virtue of these shorts, which again, Secret Levels, Tim Miller's company and Blur, they also did Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, and which was again a series of just a bunch of short sci-fi stories. And the thing with these is, even if a story is like kind of a dud, like for me, the Crossfire one was the weakest one of this opening batch. It's ultimately just out of your life in like 15 minutes. And like even the one I liked the least was still good looking.
Yeah,
I think my big thing against the Crossfire one was I care less than anything about Crossfire.
Yeah, that IP might as well have been it could have literally been anything. Like,
yeah, I mean, it would be the weirdest IP for this thing if it wasn't for the fact that we're getting a Concord episode next week, which is very, very weird.
quite bizarre.
Yeah, the Crossfire one to me was, I think the reason I butted up against it mostly was because the entire time watching it, unlike you, who will be like, this would be better animated, I was watching it and being like, why isn't this just live action? Like, there is nothing that was done in this thing. Nothing done with the camera, nothing done with the action that couldn't have been done just live action. Like, there was
that is fair.
Nothing. And I'm not even talking about, like, a lot of these episodes have kind of photorealistic characters. Like the Keanu in the Armored Core episode is like so clearly Keanu, but that works in animation because there's a bunch of fucking mechs.
Like giant robots with energy blades and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas the Crossfire one was just like, felt like
it's guns
like
and
Sicario or something.
Cadillac.
Yeah, and I'm like, they're just trying to get like a dude to the border, and he's kind of an asshole, and like they get attacked by dudes who don't care. Like you don't care about any of the characters at any point. Yeah, granted it's a short, but like I don't know.
I mean that being said, like, and you're right, like that IP does nothing, and the aesthetic, because it's such a generic IP, military, like modern military drama, right? Like it doesn't add anything that it's animated for sure. That being said, it was still good. Like it should have been terrible, right? But like the little bit of narrative that they did, it like the whole premise is like, and I think, and again, I don't play Crossfire, but it gave me a little bit of insight into like maybe that it's like it's a multiplayer thing, right? Like it's just but it's a fun little tidbit that basically says like, oh, both teams see themselves as the good guy.
As the good, yeah.
And like that's just commentary. And like it's just really cool to be able to inject that little bit of life into something that is very, very lifeless.
And the idea of like actually personifying like a VIP in a multiplayer match.
Yeah.
There's plenty of multiplayer games have like what teams got to secure the VIP, and this is trying to be like, well, what do you think this VIP guy's thinking right now? Like as this like hell on earth is happening around him. And the whole thing is kind of set like with a ticking clock of like a storm approaching and everything. So yeah, like I said, even though it was my least favorite of the episodes, it again, out of your life in 15 minutes. That was a little later on. The second episode was Sifu, which obviously you're a huge fan of.
Huge fan of the game.
Yeah.
There was already, weirdly enough, a short thing attached to the game, like which was in live action.
Yeah.
And I loved everything that they put into the Sifu short, but it is literally the shortest one.
Yeah.
And like that kind of sucks because that deserved way more time than it got.
Yeah. It almost felt like a montage, which it almost did purposely, like given the idea of the game, and it's the episode is it almost distills like a run of the game.
It's
like
almost
7 minutes.
Almost like, hey, this like I just got off work. I got to get on a phone call with my mom in like a half hour. Let me just do a quick run to second level.
Do a quick, and
but it went.
But it leans into, the character is introduced as a young man, and as he's slowly trying to get revenge and trying to make it further into this hideout, he's dying. Like he's getting his throat slit or he's just getting the shit beat out of him. But because of Sifu, he keeps coming back, but he's coming back a little bit older. And I thought the framing device really worked well of going to the little dumpling shop. And he goes there like as a young man and he's talking to the old lady at the dumpling shop and everything. And then at the end, he revisits again as an old man. And she's like, oh, I must have served your grandson, yesterday. Right. And he's like, oh yeah, he told me like these are the best dumplings in town. Like I thought that was like a really sweet moment to bookend just some kick-ass fight scenes.
Yeah, it also like in the game, the coming back to life thing is a mechanic and there are rules behind it. But in the short, I really liked how they sort of reframed that to essentially be, all right, he just got killed, but now he goes to this sort of liminal space where he just trains again. Like he can spend as much time of his own life in that space as he needs to feel confident enough to try again. And that's the thing that like that's the thing that he sacrificed. It's like, all right, I lost as a counter, so I can't lose the next time because I'm running out of time. But so I'm going to spend this much time to make sure I'm good enough.
Yeah, it's almost like, I've spent the last 2 years training, but I'm instantly coming back 2 years older. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's almost like Goku's got his weird hyperbolic chamber thing. Like
it's but it's like inside him, and it works in reverse. Like it, ages him. Well, no, it still worked the same. Like they still grew. They spent that actual time. Yeah. So
like the rest of the world was like moving.
Yeah, it keeps going. Yeah. So like I really wish that they would have given us more time with that world and that character to really let that sink in, like what he was sacrificing for the revenge he was going for.
This would have been like a 20-minute one as opposed to like literal 7-minute one. Yeah.
It was by far the shortest one, like by a lot. And like that just, and it also had like the most interesting art. Like again, like all the other ones were like gorgeous, but they were like mostly photorealistic.
Sure,
some of the other ones had a little flair here and there.
Whereas this looked like the Sifu, sort of that, not like cell shading, but it looked a little like Arcane almost. Yeah, like some of that. It does look
similar to Arcane. Yeah.
But yeah, really cool. One up there.
Like Blue-Eyed Samurai almost, even whatever you would call it.
Yeah, that's
like like watercolor 3D CG. We need a name for this.
Yeah, and that's why whenever anyone's like, CG anime, I'm like, well, no, because like there's plenty of CG animation that looks fucking rad. Like
they just got to do it.
Spider-Verse
and it keeps getting better. That's the thing.
Yeah. Like if you're just using it as like a cheap shortcut to like make your shitty knockoff DreamWorks movie, then the animation looks bad. But this kind of stuff's cool. Going from Sifu to a thing both of us really love to a thing I don't think either of us care any about was New World. That was the big, again, unsurprising because that is the big Amazon MMO, and Amazon, this is an Amazon series, so I'm assuming when they greenlit this, were like, oh, well, also we want to put one of our things in there. That being said, which was referred to earlier, I really enjoyed this one, and part of it was because the main character, who's this like dipshit of a king, of a guy who like thinks he's a king but has never done anything to like earn being a king, ends up washing up ashore on this island where he just keeps being, every time he dies he just comes back to life, and it just turns out he's kind of a dipshit, but he's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's like almost like a Conan the Barbarian kind of figure here.
You know what? That tracks. And I didn't like his voice did feel like I should know who he was.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick up on the fact that it was in fact Arnold. Like, I thought it might be someone doing Arnold.
He didn't go full Arnold. He like, you can see it come out in little points, but he wasn't like get the chopper Arnold. Which I guess now he's like a 70-year-old man or whatever, so it's fine for him not to sound like that.
I mean, like everyone in every other short was perfect. Like they disappear behind their character. That guy stood out. It was because it was Arnold.
It was because it was Arnold. Now realizing, he doesn't really act that much anymore, right? He's like shows up in commercials and stuff. But I liked that this one was funny. This was the only one that was funny.
Yeah, this one was all comedy for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, like this was like him constantly trying to take over this island and constantly getting killed and constantly coming back to life, and like eventually just being told, like, he's like, I don't understand. I beat everyone back in my old kingdom, and the guy being like, well, everyone let you in. Like, you're not good at fighting.
Yeah.
And him being an asshole to like his servant, who also ends up on the rejuvenation island, but he's like missing a limb, and he keeps coming back without the limb. And Arnold's like, man, it would really suck if I was like missing an arm. And
and he laughs at him.
Yeah.
Like it's like I did like it. I don't care about New World at all.
Mm-hmm.
And what this did by being kind of a good just animated thing was make me ask questions about New World. Like, is that what New World is about? Like, is it about a bunch of people on the island that keep coming back to life?
Yeah. Is it like does it because a fair amount of these deal with the idea of the core video game thing of you die and you come back. You know, Sifu obviously as a mechanic deals with that.
Yeah.
This New World one does, the Unreal Tournament one does a little, the Pac-Man one does. Like what are lives in games? Like, how do we turn that into art? And so I don't know if New World, because New World I think is an MMO, so I don't know if they just have a like, oh, the New World Island is a place where you can't die, so that explains why your character comes back after the day. Yeah. But yeah,
it was interesting.
I do wish. One thing I really liked about Love, Death, and Robots is they did bounce around tone quite a bit. They would have like a romance. I mean, Love, Death, and Robots in the name. They would have like a heartbreaking story, and then they would have a funny story, and then they would have a scary story, and then they would have an action-packed one. Whereas this, maybe it's just the nature of games or the nature of games they chose. Most of these were just kind of serious action stories.
Yeah, like of everything that was in this first run, like none of it is necessarily primed for comedy. Like you maybe could have chosen that with something like D&D because that's open ended.
Yeah.
But like if you're D&D and you're amidst all these other video game things, you're probably going to go for more, hey, we're just as cool as the other guys versus hey, look at the goofy, funny tabletop game.
Sure. Yeah, whereas like the D&D movie was willing to poke fun at it the idea of D&D. I'm hoping in the next batch, or if there's a season 2, that there's more that are willing to explore kind of different tones other than, you know, hardcore cool action. The next weekend of hardcore action, the next one was Unreal Tournament, which is an interesting IP to. And like this has been like Epic put. I mean, for people who don't know, I guess if you're a little bit younger, Unreal was like Epic's first big game series. This was Cliff Bleszinski's series. It was their first big thing before Gears of War. It was a single player game, and then it became a big multiplayer game with Unreal Tournament. And then once Gears of War came out, they kind of shuffled it to the wayside. And then especially now with Fortnite, no need to worry about that. But they took the idea of like deathmatch and they framed it around a story of like these group of like working robots on like a space colony or on like an asteroid or something.
And I don't remember anything about Unreal Tournament to know if any of that is in reference to a plot that existed in Unreal Tournament, or is this all just made up around the idea of giving a story to the idea of team deathmatch?
I think Unreal Tournament, and even with its announcer, I think it like the fiction of the world was it was like deathmatch that was being held for people's amusement.
Okay, so it was always that premise.
I believe so. Yeah. So I think they took that almost like a Running Man kind of thing, which is why you had announcers going double kill and shit like that. So I think they kind of took that and then stretched out to be like, oh, well, what is it like to be these things? And, you know, it kind of starts off as like a standard, you know, robot uprising story and then quickly just becomes Gladiator. Where it's like, oh no, people are siding with this team of robots who keep winning in the tournament, and we got to do something to we can rig it. We can have them die in the middle of the arena.
Yeah, it really was. You're absolutely right. It was just Gladiator.
I rewatched Gladiator a few weeks ago before the second one, and I got like halfway through this. I'm like, this is just Gladiator.
Like maybe that's why it was so good, because this was surprisingly one of the best ones.
Yeah, and again,
but also this was also one of the longest ones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So like it got a lot of time to like let its themes and action and stuff all sink in, and had ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys and stuff. So like it really left an impression.
Yeah, and you kind of, even though they were just like bog standard robots, you kind of care about the characters, like especially in that little opening where they're being treated like shit and being
dudes
sent on
just
like
being
suicide
shitty
missions.
to
They gain sentience and they just want to live. So it almost felt like whereas like the D&D one didn't really let you spend time to learn anything about the characters, about the party members, other than like, oh, you're a cool little gremlin with can't be a gremlin. Gnome. Oh, that's gotta be
a
offensive to
gnome
gnomes.
or a dwarf.
Using magic, like you didn't have a lot of story behind them, but I like these robos quite a bit. The one after that was Warhammer, which is probably one of the most beloved things in here, but it is that's a huge blind spot for me. And I know there's hella people in our audience who fucking love Warhammer. Apparently this was the same character as the Space Marine games.
Yeah, he was called Titus, and I recognized his face anytime he took his helmet off. So like they legit just did a short about their big Space Marine guy.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this was like was the Sifu short, was that supposed to be canonical? Like,
it could have been.
Yeah.
But it could have been. Like it.
I mean, like going into the club felt like that club level of Sifu. So it was
it was inside wasn't like the exact architecture, but like it is the exact premise from the game. Where it's like, he was outside the club. That club belonged to one of the guys who murdered his sensei, and so he fought his way in there to find that guy and kill him. So like, yes, that is just a level of Sifu. Yeah.
Whereas this feels like this feels like this could be canonical to Warhammer, where it's like, oh, you get a little bit of backstory on who this guy. I mean, obviously you see him in his power suit. I'm sure that has a name, and people are very angry right now. But his big football helmet and his big football pads, just beating the shit out of stuff. And again, I don't know anything about Warhammer, but everything looked cool. Like.
No, it really did.
When there was one scene where like a couple of dudes were back to back and they were in like a completely dark room fighting things.
Yeah.
That,
my god,
bled,
that
like luminescent
awesome.
blood. Yeah, like, that was sick as hell.
That was so freaking cool. And I know we're not like this because this keeps happening. They are the bad guys. But that's everyone in Warhammer 40K are the bad guys, right? It's just we happen to follow these bad guys.
Yeah,
and but because of that and because of what they do, you get attached to them. And it's like, they're doing real sick shit, but the sick shit they're doing is actually actual sick shit.
Some real sick shit right there. And you played? Did you play Space Marine? The new Space Marine?
I played some. I haven't finished it. I'm nowhere near finishing it, but I have played a good amount of it, and I like it a lot. And it feels like a lot like what this short was. Like the combat in that game is almost 1-to-1 with like how cool these guys were kicking ass in the short. So like this was just a really, really good representation for the action side of that series. Well, specifically Space Marine, right? Because the first game I think was a lot like that too. So like this and Sifu, honestly, are like you can watch that short and immediately go do what you saw in the game.
Yeah, and I got a little bit of that in Armored Core, even though Armored Core was short.
Yeah, Armored Core,
yes. Yeah, those are three that like had the most like, oh, this is like 1-to-1 what you are doing in the mechanics of the game. Which I'll be curious about some of the ones. Next week I'm very curious about Mega Man. That's probably the one I'm most curious.
Yeah,
there's Mega Man, and then there's like the weird PlayStation one that's like every PlayStation IP.
I think that's gonna be dumb, but
I think it's gonna be I think it's just gonna be Easter egg. It's just gonna be like
nothing's been bad so far, but I think that one might be.
Yeah, that has what it takes to disappoint me. Moving from Warhammer to probably the most surprising one, just because it's the weirdest thing to adapt, was Pac-Man.
Yes.
Which
what a surprise.
Yeah, until I would not have realized it was Pac-Man for a while. You know, they sprinkle some things in there, like being fed cherries and having a weird little like golden orb following you around. But yeah, it's mostly about this. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to call out because they don't name the thing in the story, but because I always watch everything with captions on, it tells you the name of the orb, and it's Puck.
Yeah. Which is the Paku, like
which is that reference
we only know from Scott Pilgrim.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone who says they knew that before Scott Pilgrim is a liar. I like that, and I also like how it's like, oh, is Pac-Man the baddie? Like, Like, Pac-Man's kind of fucked up, and like this is probably maybe along with the Armored Core one. Well, a moment of the Armored Core one, probably like the most violent.
This was very violent.
Yeah, with like true body horror of like the Pac-Man orb.
Yeah, it was
going into his
honestly
spine.
scary. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think any of them were like horror adjacent. Like the D&D one maybe had some moments, but this one was legit like tense and then just straight up horror.
That is funny that of all of these things, horror is missing. Like, there's no horror game in this.
Yeah.
And even of the ones next week, there's no, because next week is like Outer Worlds, Spelunky, PlayStation, Mega Man, Honor of Kings. That was the name of the game. I was trying to think of that. May or may not be a gacha. Everyone's favorite gacha. But what if next week you roll and you're like, I'm a big Honor of Kings guy now?
Let's find out. What is Honor of Kings?
I think Speakeasy said they play it.
It's a mobile MOBA.
A MOBA. Oh, it's a MOBA, not a gacha. You know what? You could be a MOBA and a gacha.
Can MOBAs be gachas?
Sure. Fucking, there's no rules. But it would have been cool to have like a Silent Hill or a Resi or like a Dead Space. But maybe we save that for
maybe next season.
That for season 2. But yeah, the Pac-Man one. Did you like the Pac-Man one?
I did actually.
Yeah, so did I.
I liked it quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I also hope this is the only quote unquote weird take on a property, and I'm hoping, like lighter hearted ones with goofs, I hope we get more that are like, ooh, that was a weird take of the property. Like, and I like that, as opposed to just being like, as much as I like the Sifu and the Armored Core ones, they just felt like Sifu and Armored Core.
Yeah, it's like we'll just give you a snapshot of the world as it stands.
Yeah.
Like, but does Pac-Man canonically have lore and a story? Like, not just the original arcade game, but like they gave him like legs and arms at some point. Like, did
that Pac-Man World and stuff?
Right. Yeah. Like, they completely ignored any of that. Like, they went like, look, we know you know the iconography. We're going to give all of that new context and new meaning. And like, maybe they were free to, because they were like, okay, just take this framework of an arcade game and do what you want.
Yeah. That would almost be like if you would be like, oh, there's an episode on Tetris coming up, and it's like something fucked up about like the anxiety of blocks falling from the sky.
And it's like Inception with the world's folding.
Okay, that'd be pretty good, actually. I think that would be pretty good. Oh, I want that. The second to last one we already talked about, Crossfire. It just felt like a pretty cool action scene from a movie.
Yeah. Like, it was not bad, despite not giving a shit about the franchise at all.
And I'm glad that was the last one, though, because it ended on Armored Core, which I really fucking liked. A, because I like Armored Core. B, Yano crushed it, and C, it has such a good ending. Like,
Armored Core, I think, was the best one.
Yeah. And
in no small part because Keanu Reeves is involved.
Yeah.
Like, Keanu Reeves does a thing when he goes into a movie, but the thing he does is excellent, and he was perfect for being this sort of like loner, broken Armored Core pilot who was just really fucking good at what he does.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing to watch. And again, like, for most of them, the animation like is distracting in how good it was. Armored Core might as well have been live action, because that's how good the animation was. Like, you can see how much money Amazon just has on hand with the entirety of this series.
Yeah, and maybe it helps that like he's such like an iconic figure, but like you see him and you're like, oh, that's just Keanu Reeves. Like, that's just maybe they use Kojima's soul sucking machine for this or something, because like that's just straight up Keanu Reeves. Yeah, my only knock against it is it felt short, and which again, I liked everything.
You definitely would have wanted more of this.
Yeah.
But this
really
was
cool.
also one of the longer ones.
It was, but I still wanted more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you wanted. That's how good it was.
Short.
You wanted more, even though it was like one of the longest shorts.
Yeah. I really, and I won't give away the like actual, like, it just ends on a really fucking cool moment that reminded me of there's a Gundam series I watched recently called Witch from Mercury. That there was one from a few years ago that it as like a moment at the end that's like like it ends on like a holy shit moment where you really like you just really got to think about how big and powerful these robots are compared to how small and powerless and fragile a human being is. Like you obviously that's what mech stories are about, but you can very easily lose track of that until you see like, oh, what happens when like a human actually goes up against the mech? Probably doesn't end well.
And on that note, like in terms of like the sort of holy shit ending, a lot of the shorts went that route.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them end on this sort of like really uncomfortable cliffhangers where you like if this wasn't an anthology series, you would be like, I can't wait till the next episode because like none of this is resolved. There's a huge problem that has just now occurred at the end of this thing. What happens next? Yeah. And like the idea that you'll never probably see more of that is kind of sad.
Yeah. Just have him be a dude who every game gets one DLC, a DLC expansion with Keanu. That's a new rule. You can just make an Armored Core expansion about this dude.
He like Keanu has popped up in a lot of games recently. Have any of those games been bad? Like his inclusion in them?
I mean, Cyberpunk became really good, and he was really good in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite parts of Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
he got me through a lot of the back half.
From the early reviews, he's really good as Shadow, the Hedgehog.
I believe it.
Yeah.
When I heard that he was cast as Shadow, I was like, "Shit, that's pretty inspiring."
That's pretty good.
Same thing with Idris Elba as Knuckles. I'm like, y'all kind of have your
you guys
finger on the pulse for this Sonic thing.
But it was really good. I really like these episodes. I'm really looking forward to next week. I would love to just have new episodes every week for the rest of my life. But knowing how long it takes for things to make, with these, we'll probably get a new season in like 3 years. Hopefully this does well. Do you think it'll do well?
I really do hope it does well because, but what does well mean anymore, right? Like Amazon clearly spent a shit ton of money on this.
Yeah,
like animation is not cheap. And this looks like top dollar stuff. Like they did not skimp. So like I don't like if this isn't like the number one thing on all streaming platforms, are they gonna be like, all right, well, it didn't make our money back? Like it's not.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, what do you think there's any game that gets a bump from this? Like, do you think this is good for any series? Like, this isn't gonna do anything for Pac-Man, but do you think people might be like, what was this fucking Kung Fu game? And then people check out Sifu, or like, what's this robot game with Keanu? And then they check out.
No, I honestly think it might have a bump, especially for the really good. Because again, all of them were good, and some of them are better advertisements for the game they come from than others.
Sure, yeah.
So especially those ones, like you said, like Sifu, Armored Core, like those look like the game, and they're good shorts. Like especially Armored Core, like that will absolutely make someone be curious for that sort of stuff. Like New World was good. I don't know if anything in that is going to get someone to jump into an MMO because like nothing about that was very MMO like.
Yeah, and it helps that like Armored Core, Sifu, and I would say Warhammer are the three that you could
Warhammer too, yeah.
Like if you had a friend who watched them and were like, "Man, I want to play a game like this." You could very easily be like, "Here's Sifu," or "Here's the new Warhammer game," or "Here's Armored Core." It's a game version of that thing. Whereas like New World, I'd be like, all right, well, make a character and go hunt a bunch of rats for a while. Like,
right.
Enjoy that. Or like D&D, here's a book with a bunch of monsters.
now you can do all that stuff you just saw, but in your mind. Like, all right, well, I'm no longer interested.
And here's a Pac-Man game. Don't worry, it's nothing like that series. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the ones next week. I'm sure next week will be our last episode. So we'll plan to watch the second batch and kind of do a similar thing. Go through them next week. Hell yeah. I guess in conclusion, I suggest people watch them. I mean, it's only in total like 90 minutes probably, all these episodes.
Yeah, it's not too much of a lift.
Yeah. Check them out. I think they're worth watching, and like I said, even if you're not digging one, it's spoilers, it's going to be over in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So then you'll move on to the next one. Cool. We can wrap up by chatting about stuff we've been playing or watching. You have a couple games on here. Let's start with what you were playing on Monday. Rivals of Aether.
Oh, yeah. I've been
Yeah.
meaning to get to that for a long time. I just couldn't find the time, so I forced it into my work. So, Rivals of Aether 2 came out a little while ago. It is a platform fighter. It's a sequel, as the 2 would imply, to a pixel art game. You might have seen it advertised in our Game Maker ad, honestly, because like the original one was made via Game Maker. And even then, I considered it probably the best feeling platform fighter other than Smash, because it kind of adhered very closely to Smash's basics, but it was missing a couple things. Like it didn't have like ledge hanging, it didn't have shields, you couldn't grab and throw people.
Yeah.
Right. It was more kind of just rock'em sock'em robots in that way, where you're just fighting for space and opportunity and whatnot. So with this sequel, they've made the move to make all the characters 3D rendered, even though they're still fighting on a 2D plane. They added shields, they added ledge grabs, like all the stuff you know from Smash. But they even added new stuff. Like you have, this is something a couple of other platform fighters have done as well. But rather than a smash attack, you have what's known as a strong attack, and that's on a separate button entirely, which means that you can basically do strong attacks in the air.
Oh, and not have it like affect your movement.
Well, you just get an additional 4 sets of attacks. Because
gotcha.
Usually if you're in the air, you attack in all directions or whatever.
Yeah,
that's just your one attack. But because you can't do the smash attack input in the air and it do anything, now you have a dedicated button that then gives you a new way to do a smash attack in the air. Like this, again, this is something that other games have done. Like Multiversus has strong attacks too, I think, and I think Nick All-Stars might also do that. But this has the added bonus of keeping everything else pretty much the same. So it just feels like Smash with more options.
Yeah.
And it has a good roster of characters. Like they're distinct from each other. They have like fun designs. And they have
all original characters. It's not.
Yeah, these are all their own original characters.
Okay.
Yeah. They had some crossover tie-ins with the first game, like stuff for. I think they had Shovel Knight and they had Ori.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So they didn't return with this, but like maybe they will if they can regain those licenses down the road. And the idea is, they will expand the roster into the future as well. But like what I was saying on Monday was like that's going to heavily depend on if the player base keeps up. And like, I only searched for like one match during that stream and found someone to fight. So like that didn't seem like a problem. And someone in chat was like, "Oh, fight me," and I fought them for like a good half hour. So like folks seem to be coming out for it. Like it has a player base that is playing, but I didn't go check the numbers. So I don't know how many people are like, actively playing right now, or if it's gone down since launch or anything like that.
Is it does it cater to like the competitive like 1v1s, or does it have a bunch of like, does it have like the dipshit party modes that I like in Smash?
And that might be a thing that limits it, because like you can play 4 players, but that feels like it's really only to facilitate the fact that there are 2v2 competitive players, right?
Yeah. So
that means by default you can do a free-for-all, but there are no items, there are no stage hazards. The single player mode is, a real bare bones arcade mode where you pick a character and then you fight a bunch of variations of the other characters. Some are like powered up. Sometimes they throw multiples of them at you. But like when you beat them all, you just get a victory thing at the end, and then you go back to the beginning. So like they really didn't do anything in terms of creating a single player experience.
Yeah.
But if you're here for an alternative to Smash. Like that's like your frustration with playing Smash, especially playing Smash online, is down to the point where like I can't take this anymore. There must be something else, and Rivals is that something else.
Yeah, that's funny. Speakeasy wanted to know, do you think you're going to stick with it?
I want to play more of it, but again, like I don't see myself abandoning Smash for it. Like Smash is still the thing that feels the best and I'm the most familiar with. So like, and this is the same issue that any other like big live service thing has, is trying to pull a player base away from the king.
Something they've been playing for years. Yeah.
Right. So like, it depends heavily. Like if I get a couple of folks in like my circles who are moving over to this or asking me to play with them, then I'll probably spend more time than I normally would.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have any of the your fighting game pals on like Smash Sundays or anything? Like, have any of them played this? Or
They've been asked. A couple of them
have.
have been asking me about it for weeks now, and I've just been like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get to it." One in particular is someone who used to play with us a lot in Smash, but
Mhm.
quit like a year and a half ago. Like
Oh,
he was fed up with the online stuff. He's like, part of it is fueled by the fact that he would lose often
sure.
playing against us online, and some folks just don't like to lose; they can't take
No,
it.
yeah.
But like he would have the excuse of like, oh well, there's input lag. Oh, where there's what's the name spikes, or like this didn't work. Like this works
Yeah.
offline, but it doesn't work online. But like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he abandoned it entirely. And every time there's a new platform fighter, he'll show up and be like, hey, have you tried this? What do you think? Have you tried? Because he wants us to
not
like
Smash.
move.
It's got
move off
better
Smash.
online than Smash.
But yeah, like everything else has been fine, but not even close to like matching like the feel and the enjoyment of Smash.
Yeah.
This is by far the closest. Like Smash is still the king, but this is a good alternative. And because Smash doesn't exist on PC, and because it has
Sure.
all of its weird internet hiccups or whatever, this is someplace you could go if you're really sick of that bullshit.
Yeah, it does feel like all of these, this Multiverses, the Nickelodeon one, are all vying for second place, right? Like no one really thinks they're going to take the crown from Smash, but it's like, oh, this is a big enough thing to where second place, you could still probably have an actual life and a healthy community and everything. So, do you think this has what it takes to be second place, like above
like
Multiverses?
mechanics wise? Yes, it has the potential because it's still like as a package, it's still very bare bones.
Yeah,
like I don't think it's going to find wider appeal until it just gives a single player more stuff to do, or like a group of friends sitting in a room together, more stuff to do that isn't. Well, I mean, they could just have fun fighting each other, I guess. But like the thing that put Smash on everybody's radar in the beginning was the fact that it was an actual party game. Like it brought folks in, and it was like kind of event playing. And like, the world has changed since then. But like, I don't know.
But people,
this could be an IP thing too, right? Like,
I was gonna say, like, this is missing the thing I think I mentioned last week, and I wrote about a week or two ago, of how fucking cool those Smash reveal trailers were.
Yes,
like how hyped I would get to when it was a new character, and even if it was like fucking Terry, I'm like, fuck, Terry's here. But like when it was someone I cared about, it was the coolest thing in the world. And that just like, unless they renew those ties with those indie games, that kind of just can't exist here. And even if it is, like, I'm not gonna get as excited if it's like Celeste or something.
Because it's, and that's the thing. A lot of these other platform fighters, especially like some of the indie ones and not like the bigger attempts, they do leverage that indie space. They'll say, oh, we'll get you those other characters that aren't highlighted in Smash, but and love. And like if it's just that again, like, is that enough? Like, we've seen that kind of come and go.
Yeah,
like, I'm wondering, like, because like the crossover thing is synonymous with like the enjoyment of Smash now. I'm wondering like what they could do to leverage that in a way that matters.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like put Goku in it, maybe.
Finally,
they'll lose their minds.
Put Goku and Crash Bandicoot in there. You know what should happen? Sony should buy the studio and be like, make PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale 3, 2. Well, yeah,
I don't know.
What? I mean, these mechanics and they give them their IP.
Yeah, like PlayStation All Stars would have been a better idea if they didn't change as much as they changed, because the stuff they changed was worse.
Yeah.
If it was like a 1-to-1 copy, like it might have took off.
Yeah. It's like, no, you should have just copied the percentage meter and then knocking people out of the arena. Like, that's like, because I had some cool shit. I like how every level had like a transformation moment where like something would happen and the level would like completely transform. Like, it wasn't, PlayStation All Stars wasn't a complete.
No, it had potential.
Yeah.
And like it was doing a story mode where all the characters like were like meeting. It was doing what Multiverses was doing.
Yeah.
In terms of like, oh, these characters have magically been put in the same place, and they know that they've been put in the same place and pulled from their universes. Like, it was telling a story with all the characters they had.
Yeah. I'm just watching this intro movie Eric's playing now, and now I'm just thinking about it. I'm just thinking about those places.
Look at Nathan Drake trying to shoot a raccoon.
Look at him. He's got a gun. He's like, got this fucking French raccoon bopping around everywhere. What a crazy thing. Cole McGrath just punching fat princess of overweight royalty. Cole, how could you? A couple super chats came in recently. The Earl Grey Hot, been on for 6 months. Thank you so much. First time live after a year. Thanks for the work. Thank you, Earl Grey Hot. Appreciate you. Ryan Betts, re-upped in the tip jar. Thank you, Ryan. King Dead with a $5 dono. Going back to Crossfire. Was Crossfire based on the hit 90s board game Crossfire? I still remember that commercial. One of the all-time great commercials. Yeah, you'll get caught up in the... I mean, kind of. I bet these kids were cool. I bet these kids did a bunch of drugs later on in their lives, though. I think they peaked too early in the Crossfire commercial, and they would like try to bring that up
to do the Crossfire commercial.
Exactly,
and then everything after that was just downhill.
It was just all downhill. Fat Cock with a $10 dono. Thank you so much. Can't wait to watch the Concord episode. I guess that is going to be the one example of a thing where you cannot. If someone's like, "Yeah, this is interesting. Can I have more?" No, you actually can't.
Nope. Never.
It is insane that game just doesn't exist. Wasn't it like 2 weeks?
Oh,
it was like a week and a half. 2
yeah,
weeks.
It was short. So short. Yeah.
What happened? Joel Rao with a €2 dono. I don't know why I was so sad. It's not like I was going to play. I just find it sad. So many people worked on it. I wish it was good. I don't want to play it, but I just wish other people were. Joel Rao with a €2 dono.
It could have been good if they gave it time, but
I mean, that's the PlayStation All-Stars thing. Like, things aren't allowed to, like, figure out their way. Like, the first... I mean, Smash 64 is really good, but, like, Melee was such a huge improvement.
Yeah.
And it's just... These things don't get a chance to have that leap from Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2 or Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2. Joel Rao with a €2 dono. Thank you so much. For your information, I farted after eating garlic. You didn't have to say for your information. It's not like when you say that, it sounds like we are like telling you didn't. Like, oh, I bet Joel Rao's never farted after.
Yeah, like where?
For your information, I did. Well, I'm just proud of you.
I guess I wasn't here when. Like, I don't know what this is referencing.
I don't know what's in reference to. Maybe it's this picture of Wario farting in Smash. In one of the Smash trailers, I believe it's the Brawl reveal, it ends with Wario farting a mushroom cloud. He farts so hard, there's a mushroom cloud. And then it fades to black, and then the Metal Gear codec noise appears, and it's the Snake reveal. And that has to be like the weirdest 10 seconds of anything ever. Like, I wonder if they had to get Kojima's permission. I wonder if he was like, you need to hang on a black screen for longer before.
It was probably Kojima's idea.
The fart represents the proliferation of nuclear arms. Then the codec call comes in.
He was like, how do we get a nuclear explosion in this trailer? It was like, I got an idea.
And that's why he was like, I will now make Metal Gear Solid 5, which is all about disarming every nuke because of what Wario did to my sweet snake. What Wario did to my sweet snake. Oh no. title of my sex tape. And Murasaki with a $50 dono. Thank you so much, Murasaki.
Thank you.
Since I didn't watch Windbreaker, to post this when it was asked, best Christmas songs. Weird Al's Christmas at Ground Zero. Jesus, is that about 9/11? I don't know that song.
Yeah, I've not heard
Tom Lehrer, Christmas Carol. Jonathan Colton, Chiron Beta Prime. Jonathan Colton, that's what's his name? That's the Portal guy. Portal music. Jonathan Colton, right? He does like the Portal goof songs, right?
I have no idea.
If I keep saying right, I got to be right. Chat, Jonathan Colton. He does Portal goof songs, right?
Of any of these songs. I've only heard of Weird Al as a musician out of these people mentioned.
And then happy holidays to all, and thanks everyone at Second Wind. Murasaki, right back at you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, he did write about it. He did write the Portal songs, like the GLaDOS song, like Still Alive. Remember that song?
I love that song.
Triumph.
So amazing. I don't know his Christmas songs though.
He's got Christmas tunes. Other stuff. What
to answer his question, my favorite Christmas song is the I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. By Jackson 5.
That's a good one.
It's amazing.
That is a good one.
It was the only Christmas song that I never actually like drove me to hate it, because when I used to work at Kmart during the holidays, it would just play every Christmas song you could ever imagine over and over and over, and I began to hate them all except that one. When that one came on, I was like, yes, finally.
What are your thoughts What are your thoughts about Mariah?
No,
No?
I can't. It's too much.
When you start hearing the
I can't stop.
it's
No,
like PTSD.
don't do it.
I always go to my favorite's Nat King Cole, and it's just called A Christmas Song, which you shouldn't be allowed to make a Christmas song called The Christmas Song. Like, that
Unless
feels
it's
rude.
like-
But it
Unless
is the
it's
best Christmas song.
one. So there you go.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Think about those. What else? What else have you been playing? Anything else?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about Rivals of Aether this whole time. I checked out some Marvel Rivals. Finally, I got to jump back into the 1.0 version of the game. I really liked it during the beta. I've not been able to play on like a team with any friends yet, but even so, jumping in solo because I wanted to try out Hawkeye in particular because he wasn't around during the beta. I saw his like gameplay video, and he's basically just my favorite Overwatch character, Hanzo.
Yeah.
Plus Hanzo's brother from Overwatch, Genji, who has like a bunch of katana wielding nonsense.
Oh, they're
and
like
ninja
related
movement.
to each other?
Yeah, they're brothers in the
Look at
game
that.
lore.
Okay.
And like they just took both those guys' kits and fused them into what Hawkeye does.
Yeah.
And he feels so freaking good. Like Hawkeye has such insane kill potential from so far away. Like he feels broken. And I'm realizing that a lot of characters right now in this version of the game kind of feel broken. And sometimes the matches feel one-sided, like either my way or the other team's way for the most part. And like maybe it's just because I'm
They've
playing
got
like
more broken
lower ranks right
characters.
now. Yeah, like it's fun. Like it's a lot of freaking fun. I was messing around with Star-Lord a little bit too because I remember liking him in the beta, and I wrecked shop. Like I like I learned something that I didn't know in the beta, which is like one of his special movement abilities is he just like turns on his booster jets, and I would use it to just like move around quickly like across the arena. But I never noticed that you can press a button to ascend, and so you can literally just fly like with the booster boost. Like, and he can get insane flanking opportunity by just flying clear over the entire battlefield and like drop it on the opposite side. And like the cooldowns for all that stuff are really generous, like for like both Hawkeye and Star-Lord or whatever. All this stuff I'm positive is going to get tweaked. Like everyone's going to get a lot weaker. So jump in now is my suggestion. Like find your heroes now before they
feel
all
good about
become-
yourself early on.
Yeah. But like
I think
it's so fun.
I've loved how many people I've heard play the game or seen little bits playing the game, and having that same level of, oh my god, I fucking love this character, and everyone talks about a different character, which is cool. Like Deebs just mentioned
you put
playing
33
exclusively
in there.
Cloak and Dagger. I saw some like gnarly Venom play. I saw fucking crazy people as Jeff the Shark, who just
Jeff
like
the
sucks
Shark.
up a bunch of dudes in his little void, and then he'll just suicide off the end
spits
of
you
the
out.
level.
Oh my god, that happened to me. Like what a jerk that Jeff.
Yeah.
That
so
feels
cool.
very unfair. That's his like super move, right?
Yeah, and that's just like the rudest shit ever too.
That's
And it's
just mad
just
foul.
It's just this is like, you know, when we talk about like free to play games, like this is what free to play should be like. Like all the characters are available there. It's you know, you're not gating off content to people. It's not like, oh shit, I want to play with KC, but KC paid money and he's got these characters that I don't have. I don't know. I think it's clear, judging by the player count, judging by what has felt like pretty positive reception, that Overwatch might have just dropped the crown and this might have picked it up.
It does feel that way.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what this looks like going forward, and you know, it's have you like futzed with the money stuff at all? Like,
I went to look in the store at what it costs to like get the opposite, like the different skins that are available. And you don't start with anything as far as I can tell, and I couldn't tell if I was earning anything at the end by the end of the matches. Like I was earning XP, and like unlocking like little achievements that looked like they had like sort of tokens attached to them.
Okay.
So like you are unlocking something by playing, but I wasn't sure it was the currency that you can spend on the outfits.
Gotcha.
So like that stuff is a little confusing as live service things tend to get.
Yeah.
But like knowing this as like this is Marvel, right? Like there's a million variants for like all the characters' outfits and stuff, and like there's gonna be stuff that comes in and looks really freaking cool and stuff that people like really want to have and show off. So like it's gonna make money because even the base stuff in terms of design is really good. Like I've never seen Hawkeye look as cool in anything than he does in this game. Like this is the coolest Hawkeye at base version. So like they can probably do better like from this.
Oh yeah, you can almost imagine like seasons being tie-ins. Like I even know from when I was like the other year when I was playing Marvel Snap, like a new movie would come out and they'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna bring in the character, like the costumes from this movie." Like so, you bring in the Thunderbolts costumes or whatever to any of those characters who are in the game. So yeah, I guess the big question will be like, are they able to maintain this? Are they able to maintain this momentum? I mean, NetEase has been doing this a long time, you know, and they've been doing live service games for a long time. So granted, they've also had like a lot of stumbles, but you know, there's that like Naraka Blade Point, which is something
that's been doing really well, I think, right?
Yeah, and that's had like huge
really
tie-ins with stuff. Yeah, people seem to really dig it. So
and like online wise, like real smooth, like no issues in terms of like matching up. The game like was completely like fine, start to finish. All the ones I played, like really, like also surprised by the install size. Like it wasn't as big as I thought it was. I think they might be doing the Nintendo thing where like it's so stylized that it's kind of hiding maybe how simple some of like the textures and models and polygons, whatever are. But like it doesn't need any of that because all that style is definitely carrying it. Like it looks phenomenal.
It's the exact opposite of like trying to download Black Ops 6 and it's 200 gigs. Then randomly my Xbox will be like, we tried downloading more Call of Duty, but we can't. I'm like, stop it. I just want the campaign and I'm almost done with it. Yeah, I'm happy that this game is good. I do actually want to and plays Gun and Control. I'm assuming you were playing Control.
Yeah, I'm like I downloaded it on PC, like I'm playing it on Steam, but I am using a controller.
Nice.
Was not an issue. Like I never ran into any situation where it felt like, oh, I was being outmatched. But like there's too much stuff that the characters can do. Like it is not a Twitch shooter.
Yeah.
In the same way that even Overwatch can be sometimes.
Hell yeah. Man, do you think Overwatch comes back from this?
It's been too long. Like they've been given like a really long period of time to get their shit together. Like the goodwill was there for them. Like people loved Overwatch and they played it religiously for the entirety of the time. It was like Overwatch had what, like a 7-8 year run, and then Overwatch 2 was what, like 2-3 years old now.
Yeah.
Like if they haven't fixed what was wrong with it by now, like a lot of that team has left. Like leads have moved on and stuff. It's like,
yeah, it seemed like that Jeff Kaplan was like the last finger in the dam, like holding back execs. And now there's like, you know, it's not like there hasn't been competition, but this feels like genuine. Like, oh, this is just Overwatch, but like seemingly doing it right now. Yeah,
like this has come specifically to eat that whole. And what's funny is a lot of people do exactly this to other big things, right? Like they see the big thing, they're like, oh, I want my piece. But this is just a rare occurrence where like the big thing just tripped and fell into a ditch. And so by the time the next big thing showed up, there was no one there. Like,
and they had plenty of time, plenty of like this wasn't like all of a sudden overnight, like Blizzard fucked up. Like
right.
They had the half a decade. Like what is happening? Yeah,
they completely dropped the ball. So like there's really no one to blame other than, you know, Blizzard in that regard.
Yeah, the corpus. B-Smarch for the $2 dono. Good evening, all. Good evening to you, B-Smarch. You've arrived just in time. I want to talk about the last game, which is, I know you get to play a little bit of Indiana Jones?
Yes, I got through. I think the first level, like you go into like that sort of. No, that's the tutorial, right?
Oh, so you got through like the first, like the
yeah, like I met the priest who he was looking for.
Okay, cool. So you got to right where you stopped is when the part afterwards is when I fell in love with the game. Like I thought the opening was good, It is very linear and very like
it is. Yeah,
hand-holdy. We'll teach you everything. You're about to enter Vatican City, which is just a big open area. And my big suggestion to you is just take your time and wander around and do a bunch of side quests because, man, it was in that moment. And Jay and I had the same experience with it that we just fell in love with this game by just having these like crazy, like immersive moments wandering around and having shit happen. And I wrote about it in my column this week, but there was like a time where I'm in the Vatican City. I'm sneaking into like a fascist tent, stealing a bunch of shit. And I'm like, I got some books and I got some biscotti. They have so much biscotti. And
I noticed that.
They fucking love biscotti with their coffee. And then I tried to steal some money, and a fascist saw me, and it just said fascist #1. And he yelled at me, and so I started fighting him. And the way melee fights in this game work is you just start grabbing shit near you, and it's like you might get lucky and be like a hammer, and you're like, oh, this is really strong, or you'll be like, here's like a washcloth on a stick. Like, fuck, this isn't strong at all. But it like turns into like a comedy of errors, which is like what fights in Indiana Jones are like. And eventually called a bunch of dudes over, and I was like, I can't deal with this. There's too many guys. I ran away. I started darting down alleyways. I was trying to look down at my map, but there was just a bunch of fascists chasing me, and I couldn't read the map. And so I ducked into a door, and it closed behind me, and I lost them. And then I turned around, and I was just in the fucking Sistine Chapel. And it was just like a gorgeous recreation. And I'm like, this is the greatest game that's ever been made. Like, how did I go from like trying to beat a dude up with a washcloth to all of a sudden being in the that's hilarious. Sistine Chapel. So yeah, I really like it. What have you thought so far of the smaller sort of handholdy elements?
Like I like the framework because like I haven't gotten to like the open world stuff like your like the more freeform stuff, but it feels really good to control. Like moving around and stuff is just real second nature.
Yeah,
but like Indy has a whip, but his whip is essentially a grappling hook.
Yeah.
And so like as soon as they tell you in the fights, they're like, hey, you can disarm people by whipping the stuff out of their hand, or you can yank them towards you. I couldn't not do that.
Yeah.
Like it's because it's
really good.
Like the combat is like fine, and then when they start adding the whip stuff in, and the fact that you can like pick up stuff and throw stuff, whatever, like then it, like you're saying, like it gets funny, like it gets hilarious. Like you can do stuff like grab people, pull them to you, push them off the side of like rooftops, and it's just fun to mess around with the world because everything kind of like there's stuff everywhere. Like you picked up a mop handle thing. Yeah, like I'm looking for stuff to hit people with. I had a violin, like this
scatters when you hit them. Yeah,
like it's really ridiculous, but like I was drawn in. Like I liked the tools that they were giving me, and I liked the space that they were giving me to run around in. And like you could even from the linear bits, because I did that first level, like you could see like, oh, there's a locked door here. You need to find a key. So like if you don't have the key, which I didn't for this particular thing, I did this real roundabout pathway, climbed really high up to the point where I was looking down on this courtyard where I was earlier. Yeah. And there was like a guy and a guard dog. And I was like, all right, now that I'm up here, maybe I have a better vantage point because I don't know how to deal with this dog. I don't really want to like kill it.
Yeah.
But like maybe I can like kill the guy and then run past the dog. But I threw something at the guy and he was like, what the hell? And then I ran off to try and find me, like by also going up the stairs. And I realized I can just jump down on the opposite side of the gate now because I'm on the roof.
That you just don't have to worry about the gate.
So who cares about the key? Yeah. I got the guy to leave and then I just dropped down behind the gate. I was like, that's really cool. Like that felt like there were multiple ways to deal with even this situation, which was a lot more linear. So the fact that it opens up even more after that, like that's actually really exciting.
Yeah. That definitely that section at night is like a little appetizer for how that kind of freeform open nature stuff works. And I noticed it too when because I played through that section and then I sat with Nick while he did the first 2 hours, and he just played it completely different than me and completely different routes and like in crazy Nick fashion. And I was like, oh, this is like, and it's cool that the game is open to both of that. Also, I will tell you, Indy does not kill dogs. And the game even makes a point of the dog will bite you, but then you scare it away by whipping the ground. And the sound of a whip or the sound of a gunshot, and the dog just runs away because it gets scared.
That's good to know. Because
the creators said Indy doesn't kill dogs because he was named after a dog. And I'm like, no, he wasn't named after the dog. They named the dog after him. We named the dog Indiana. Yeah.
That's funny because, like,
really
yeah,
good.
I didn't pull the trigger when I was aiming at the dog, but I was trying to see, like, will it give me like a cursor, like a crosshair or whatever. But I didn't try to kill the dog. I was like, I'll see what else I can do.
Yeah,
but that's good to know.
What do you think so far of like the writing and of I know there's a lot of talk about Troy Baker as Harrison Ford.
Like, he sounds indistinguishable as far as I'm concerned. Like, he just sounds really like good. Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not super deep in, as we all know. And I've said before, like, I'm not like a really big Indiana Jones guy. Like, I don't have a ton of love and nostalgia and memories about like the movies and like all the little tidbits, whatever. And you can tell very easily that a lot of what's in here is just just love letters to like the fans, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like, I don't know any of the characters other than Harrison Ford's character who have shown up and are supposed to be like well known.
The old guy you're wandering around the college with at the beginning is like one of the main characters of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No idea who that man is. I get that he's supposed to be important because like the way it's framed and like it just is like this guy is like Indy's guy, and like and that because of that when when you meet the priest, like Indiana and the priest are like buddy. I'm like, is he important or is he just some rando whatever? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious how many, because no one I've met in Vatican City so far have been from any of the movies or anything. But there's like a bunch of things where you'll reminisce. The guy asks you about Marion, and you're like, oh, well, she left me because I ended up going on too many adventures, and that's the woman from the
they reference that in the beginning too, and I'm like, I don't know the significance of this conversation they're having right now, and that's on me. I haven't been like.
Oh yeah, and I think it works without, you kind of just put it together and be like, oh, these guys are buds. Like, yeah,
sure, yeah, like it's not detrimental.
Yeah, but there was cool stuff. Like, I even found like I hacked I broke into a safe. I don't think legally you can hack.
Nobody hacks anything.
I used my best money to hack into a safe, but it was cool. I found like a bunch of like, oh, they were keeping tabs, like a bunch of notes, like the fascists were keeping tabs on Indy, but not only him, but also his dad, who's the Sean Connery character. So it's like, again, cool, just cool little fleshing out the world there. Yeah, I'm really excited to play more. Yeah, I know like Jay's fucking adored it. Like Jay said, it's one of his favorite games of the year. And Yahtzee will have his last fully random of the year on it next week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more. It feels like we didn't get a lot of stuff like this year. Like first person, almost adventure, immersive sim. Like, this is more Dishonored or Hitman than it is like
like it is
the Wolfenstein devs.
It is a primarily stealth game, which I was not expecting. And like, I don't think of the Indiana Jones franchise as stealth, but when you do think about it, like, he does kind of duck behind stuff and observe in a lot of the movies.
Yeah, he does. He's always poking around.
He's always just kind of in the rafters or like behind a box, having like a hushed conversation. Like, that's pretty stealthy.
Always being a little pervert.
It tracks.
John Lee says, why are we calling him I keep calling him fascists because the game keeps calling him fascists. Because as of right now, it's not the Nazis, it's the Italian fascists. So I could call them other Italian names, but I feel like fascist. If the game calls them all fascists, I'm going to call them fascists.
I mean, that's what they are.
Once we go to Germany, I'll call them Nazis.
Look, if anybody knows the difference between a fascist and a Nazi, it's Machine Games, all right?
Like, it is so clear that it was like, what kind of stuff do you guys like? And they're like, oh, we want to tell a cool story, we like history, and we want you to be able to just beat the shit out of Nazis. And
the stuff you can pick up to hit the fascists with is like, it's like, some of it is comical, some of it is just a wrench.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to do so much damage.
I have this weird thing where I'm replaying the Arkham games and also playing this, and in both games, your punches sound like fucking cannons. And I'm like, you are killing every one of these people with these punches. Like, it is wild how much you're killing them. Yeah, it's a good time, despite the fact that it released in December. And I know December sometimes gets a stigma. I don't think it earns that stigma. I think a lot of times rad games come out in December, which between Marvel Rivals, this, and apparently Path of Exile 2, a bunch of rad games just come out.
that's more
That's
than
great.
usual. Even
Yeah, that's a big old dump, a big old Christmas dump,
a quality Christmas dump.
a quality Christmas dump. That
Oh, this is
Jewel Rao
also
is having
on.
after the
Oh,
garlic.
sorry.
Oh no, I was making a reference to Jewel Rao eating garlic and farting. A quality Christmas dump.
I was just gonna say I noticed when I was downloading this that it's also like already like playable via cloud.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna be taking a trip this weekend, as are most of these folks. Like I could take that Amazon 4K thing with me,
Yeah,
and see if I can get it to run in a hotel while I'm like waiting.
You can make it
between
happen.
doing stuff.
You're gonna make it happen.
That should be fun.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass. So anyone who has Game Pass, just download, play it, get your whip on. You can take pictures of cats. You get experience points for taking pictures of cats in the Vatican. It's great.
Nice. You do that in real life anyway, so just
Yeah.
translate.
But now
it to
you
the
get
game.
points. You could like unlock new punches. Excellent. And Nick DOG, resub Tipchar, 12 months. Happy
Thank
1
you.
year, Nick. Anything else? I think that about does it for us. Look at that, keeping it nice and lean tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll be back tomorrow evening, 23 hours from now. With I don't know why I'm making it so ominous, but yeah, our only stream for the rest of the week is going to be the Game Awards tomorrow night at 6:30. Since Jack and Jess did their Liza P stream yesterday, and then we're not going to have any Friday streams because most of us are going to be in transit to various destinations. But yeah, what else do you have going on? What should folks check out in your neck of the woods?
Well, you can guys just follow my socials at Sigma Gears 9. Because yeah, like the rest of this week probably won't see much other content from me other than the Game Awards stream. Because yeah, I'm not going where everyone else is going, like I mentioned before, because I'm going elsewhere because my son is getting his black belt, which is a really big deal, and I got to be there for him.
That's amazing.
So that'll be cool. But because of that, like no wedding stream, no Super Smash Sunday, and it hasn't been Super Smash Sunday for like a couple of Sundays now, and I feel really bad about it. But like it's that time of year, like stuff is happening.
It's tough.
It's tough. So forgive me. It is coming back. Like as soon as all that stuff clears out, we'll pick up right where we left off.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. But like before the end of the year, there will be stuff. Like there'll be like end of the year videos. Like both Jesse and I are working on the compilation of everyone kind of giving in their best games, best movies, and TV and anime and stuff. And that should be great. So look forward to that stuff.
Yeah, all sorts of good stuff. Those will be. We don't have exact dates locked down for those, but those should be probably before the holidays. So tune in for those. We'll also have a new Battle Masters in the near future, so tune in for that. And then we should be back. Next, obviously Game Awards tomorrow, and then we should be back next week with all regular streams. Next week's our last full regular week of the year, so that'll be our last Firelink, our last Windbreaker, last Metroid, and I believe at the end of next week, the plan is more Doke.
Can't wait.
No, it's Doke. I almost said Doka V, Dokapon. What if Doka V's there tomorrow night?
What if Doka V has a Dokapon game in it?
That would be. We gotta like rename Goaty because it's like game of all time,
and it's a gacha.
And it's a gotcha! Oh, finally! And yeah, we're excited to wrap up the year in the podcast next week. But then yeah, we have a lot of exciting plans for next year. We're gonna be kicking off our Patreon write-in stuff, as well as I've been wanting to do more kind of like in slower weeks, kind of like one-off weird episodes. If you've seen, like, I've wanted to do like a tier maker episode or even like draft stuff. Not like drafting, we're going to Vietnam, but drafting like fun drafting, fantasy drafting.
Fantasy draft, but of like a thing, like
of video game things.
Right.
Yeah. So I have some ideas for that. So yeah, it should be a fun year in that. And right at the finish line, Inverse Skies with $3 Thank you so much. Happy wedding, safe travels, cool black belt.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Completely agree. Thank you so much, everyone who's tuning in live on YouTube, anyone listening on a podcast service of choice or watching the VOD. We appreciate every single one of you. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for the Game Awards. So for Eric and Casey, this was Marty. Firelink episode number 47. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful rest of your evenings.
Bye, guys. Bye.